Hello, hello. How's it going, guys? Just go ahead and drop in saying hi. I'm just gonna add in the comments in the chat. Let me go put in the poll as well. That's left. Yeah, you guys should be getting the messages right now for what's happening in the market. So nice to see you, Sean. How's it going? Let me go ahead and put in the poll so everybody's here then. We'll give a few minutes for everyone to join in. But go ahead and just say hi. It's looking like a pretty good day. So it looks like the market's going to go up higher again today. We were about 100 points down. Now we're just 2 points down on the Nasdaq. So most likely should open in the green is what I would guess. 29 minutes to go for opening. So that's good. Anyone that's new, just come and say hi. For all of you guys that are old, drop and say hi as well. Let me just do this bit of putting up a poll and then we can go ahead with it. 2 to 3 things that are on my mind. I want to talk about that. So let's do that as well. Let's see. I'm going to give you only 2 options this time, not more. So yeah, there you go. So that's your poll. Go ahead and answer that, please. There you go. You should have it up there pretty soon. And for anyone that's joining in new, just go ahead and subscribe. We're doing this every day at about 9 a.m. Eastern. So that's going to be fun. Nice to see you, Dhriti. Yo, yo. Okay, so you have your poll there. Let me go ahead and put in the comment. Okay. You should get a pinned comment as there as well. Okay, there you go. You have the pinned comment as well. So we're good. Okay, so we'll wait a few minutes and then we can begin in like 90 seconds. But go ahead. Everyone that's new, go ahead, subscribe, comment, just say hi. It's a pretty chill day today. So, could you talk about what's going to happen to markets in general? My bet on the markets for today is I believe it's still going to go up higher. We're going to get closer to all-time highs. There's a trick at the end of all of this that I'm going to share with all of you in today's live. So everyone just go ahead, hit the notification, and everyone just also go in and subscribe. So you know when I come live pretty much all the time. And if you don't want to hit the notification, then we do this every day at about 9 a.m. Eastern. So we're here again, just like we said. We're stopping to do this on the weekends. We're going to keep it to the weekdays itself. But yeah, let me go ahead and answer the first question. Wants to know what's going to be happening to markets in general. A green day today, possibly a green week as well, with the next week being bearish if the week today is bullish. We have something called as triple witching. I've been talking about this on the previous lives as well. What triple witching is, the first week of June and the second week of June usually has a particular move. They'll either be bullish or bearish. And the third week of June is when the quarterly, weekly, as well as daily options expire. When all three of these happen together, the quarterly, monthly, weekly options expiration, you are going to start seeing unwinding of positions, which is basically if you have been bearish or for 2 weeks, it's going to be a bullish third week. If you have been bullish for 2 weeks, it's going to be a bearish third week. So that is something that I'm currently looking at. I'm also of the opinion that because Secretary Bessent is meeting with his Chinese counterparts, there have been some form of enough data that's been coming out, some form of leaks saying, if the Chinese agree to a few things from the US, they will maybe ease up on the export controls. So that's going to be bullish for Nvidia. My bet is Nvidia is going to be heading higher to maybe possibly 145, 150 this week. So maybe a 5% move. Remember, it's not just the export controls that's going to start causing a problem for China. The easing of it is going to be helping Nvidia. One. Two, the other issue that's going to be helping Nvidia, or the issue that's been there all this while, has been the fact that they've not been able to sell a lot in Europe and elsewhere because of the trade deals that are happening. My bet, I think Jensen's in London at the moment. He's already come out and said he's partnering with the UK. So that's one bullish stuff. The second one is tomorrow and day after, Jensen is going to be in Paris. You have the GTC event that's going to be coming on. So he's going to be coming out. He's giving a keynote speech. Remember, he is at the moment President Trump's best friend. So I don't see anything happening where he's not going to be able to be bullish and pretty much help out when it comes to President Trump trying to get the entire trade deal sorted out here. So that being said, I'm bullish on Nvidia. I'm bullish on the market for the week. I'm also bullish on stocks for this week. If we do end up in a bullish week of 1% or 2 higher for the S&P or the Nasdaq, I might lighten up my positions for all my trading positions for the third week. Usually you do see these things happen, right? You do see, usually in June during triple witching, you are going to see either a bullish move upwards and then the next week being lower, or you're going to be seeing a bearish move this week. So look at it this way. You want to see how the markets do from June 1st to June 13th, 14th, whatever is your Friday that works out for you. The next week after that is a bearish week with options expiring on Friday. If you have had June 1st to June 14th as a positive week. So let's do the math here. You're looking at 6,000 on the S&P 500. As of June 1st, you were at about, give or take, 5,900 on the S&P 500. So 5,900 on the S&P 500 is now looking at 6,000. You're looking at a 100-point move, which is a 2-point on the 1.8 to 2% on the S&P 500. So my bet, in the first few days, we might start moving towards 6,053, 6,100, around those levels in this week. And then we could taper off, possibly making it about 1% this week at the end of all of it. And that would make next week a bearish move of 1% or 2. Again, I'm not looking for any kind of crash. I'm not looking at any form of major pullback. Nothing over 3 to 4%. And given volatility that's currently going on at 17 on the VIX, 3 to 4% is just chump change at this moment. So don't worry too much about it. It's pretty sorted out. Markets don't look like they're going to go anywhere crazy. It's, if you aren't bullish already, it is going to get bullish for you. And if you're bullish already, then enjoy the gains, because that's what it's looking more like. It's looking more likely that you're going to start seeing higher stock prices. Right. So that was one of the things that I'm looking at. It's just a few things that have been going on in the market, especially when it comes to some of these issues with Trump and Elon. It's, I would say, noise. At some point of time, Tesla's stock price, like I've been saying on the previous live sessions as well, it looks like it will head lower. And if it does head lower, I might go in and pick up a position on Tesla. So as of now, let's go ahead and let's see what Tesla is at in pre-market. I remember it being down about 2%. Yeah, we're down 2% still. So Tesla's still down 2%. Nothing fancy on that front, but something to keep and watch. As of now, my bet is that you are looking at Jensen Huang being the next Elon Musk in the administration. So you are going to see, for all seasons, at least for the next this quarter, Nvidia taking pretty much all the news of being the next Elon Musk type guy in the White House. So this is something that is playing on my head that I've been looking at. If I do see somewhere around, if 270 breaks on Tesla and we start heading towards the 220s, 215, and it doesn't take too long, right? Because it's such a volatile stock, you can see that happen within pretty much a few days. Some reasons why it could happen is because Musk won't be able to keep his mouth shut for too long. He'll keep saying something because he wants the attention just as much as President Trump wants it. So you might have them, poking each other, which is going to cause the Tesla investors as well as traders to think that shit can get worse. Maybe even Donald Trump could come out and put in some investigations and all of that, make the Tesla price go lower, make Elon shit in his pants, get worried about a few things here and there, and then what, they're just going to meet up again, solve all of it. They're going to be like, oh, you know what, I helped you with this, I have your secrets, you have my secrets, shit's going to go down between the two of them, and they're going to be fine, and the stock price will recover. The thing is, you need to buy when everyone's scared that it's the end of Tesla because Trump's going to stop him from doing what he's doing, right? Remember, great innovators will always find ways to continue innovating. Great investors need to make sure that they are there when the ability for a particular stock to be undervalued is not looked upon by all investors. Let me repeat that in simple sense. What that means is when everyone's bearish about a company, you should look at it from a positive scenario if the business fundamentals are not screwed, right? Maybe a few people here and there might not buy Tesla cars because they might believe, oh, it's against Trump and all of that. It's not everybody. People that look forward to buying Tesla cars are going to continue buying Tesla cars, right? So that is something to just always just be a little rational when it comes to these kind of things. Like the way we were saying during tariffs as well, right? Just be a little more rational than what most people thinking are 145% tariffs on China and vice versa on America. They're just unsustainable, right? I mean, if that had continued for a month or 2 months, I mean, forget about it. We would have lost maybe 5 or 6 years of gains in a matter of 2 months. But everybody knows that there is a breaking point for everything. So just be a little bit smarter than everyone else. Look at things a little more holistically. They seem to always be, there's enough bears out there to keep you scared. There's enough news out there to always make you shit in your pants. So just basically just take a step back and relax. Okay. Let me just go over a few things and see what's happening here. I do know that the White House advisor Kevin Hassett did come out and say that they're looking at reducing some of the export controls if the Chinese are able to deal with America and they have good meetings, right? It's sad to see what's happening in California, but the California governor is currently suing the Trump administration, so that's that. Let me see. There was one of these things that I had seen out here. Let me just go over. Yeah, so trade talks between US and the Chinese delegation have started. So that's one good news. That's why the markets are steady. The meeting is expected to extend into UK evening and might spill into Tuesday as well. So you are looking at a 2-day event. My scenario, they're going to come out today and say they've had great progress and that they're going to continue talking tomorrow. That's how it always happens. They're not going to, if they do decide not to have a meeting tomorrow, then that's a cause of worry. But as of now, that's not a worry at all. So just relax. It's all cool. Let me go ahead and see. Yeah, so let's see. White House advisor says US to release export controls if China talks go well. So basically, what he's saying is that given to what we say, if you do, we'll provide you with the chips that you need and you provide us with the rare earth minerals that we need. So yeah, looks like a great day. Stocks are going to go higher. My bet is you are going to see things move higher. And some of the data coming out from China has also not been too great. Let me just get this question as well. Since the Chinese are having a bad time in the markets, all data seems to be bad. You think the trade talks with the US would be more favorable to Trump? I've been saying this since a while. What I do believe is that Trump needs a win. Trump has been losing on a lot of fronts. He's been losing people on Elon's side. He's been losing people on the trade talk side. He's been losing people even on his internal Supreme Court battle. A lot of these things have been happening. For some reason, I still believe he wants the trade talks to go well because he doesn't want to put these tariffs on China. And I am still of the belief it is easier to deal with China than to deal with the EU when it comes to tariffs. And that's bullish. Because here's what's going to happen. He's going to make a call to President G. President G is going to agree to what he says. He's going to agree to what President G says. And they, both of them are going to tell their people, make a deal. And the people below them will agree. The EU has so many countries that they can't count. All of them need to sit together and make a deal in order to try getting the Americans to get a deal with them, right? The French are going to fight with the Germans are going to fight with the Italians. They need to sort their stuff out before they can even deal with the Americans. So that's that. Anyways, keep the questions coming and go ahead and say hi, everybody. We got about 15 minutes for the market to open, so that's looking good. You also have Apple's WWDC event, right? Their Worldwide Developer Conference. I heard some rumors of them renaming Siri. I'm not sure how much of that happens, but could possibly, maybe, not sure. But uh, at the moment, all looking great. So stocks aren't really losing too much sleep about these things. Let's see what else is happening in the market as of now. Yeah, so we're going to try keeping this till 10. We're going to try doing this for an hour every day. So try tuning in as much as you guys can. We're doing this pretty much every day at 9 a.m. Eastern to 10 a.m. Eastern. So drop in, say hi, ask your questions. We'll keep at it. Let me also go in and see if there's any form of news, right? Yeah, Apple's apparently reportedly working on an Apple Music reboot that's focused around AI. I don't know what that even means. I'm not sure how their Apple Music reboot is going to focus around AI for sure. Let me go ahead and see a few things. So China says its regulation of rare earth is not countermeasure and don't target specific nations. Yeah, anyways, they're just going to say whatever they have to say, but I think at the end of it, they're just going to sit back and make a deal and things are going to go. All right, let me go see what the current votes are at. So we got a few votes already, and all of them have been saying that the outlook for the week ahead is going to be bullish and everyone's ready to rally. I think the same. I think Tesla could be putting some amount of pressure on the index, but it's going to become something that's not going to matter in the grand scheme of things. But some of the high beta stocks are picking up. So that is something that I've been watching as well. You are also looking at let's see what else is happening. MicroStrategy is up 2%. They decided to go and buy some Bitcoin, so I'm guessing that's what's taking their stock price up. Other than that, there's nothing really too much to report at this moment. You are looking at Warner Brothers. They're looking at splitting the company up into their streaming and non-streaming business. So that's making it go up about 9% for Warner Brothers at this moment. They're hitting $10.69. So yeah, so Tesla's again down about 2.5. So they've come down from about 2 to 2.5. So not looking that great at this moment, but keep in mind, I mean, there can be still there's an entire trading day ahead. So don't get ahead of yourself when I'm saying it's 2.5% down. It could very well reverse and go back into the positive. You just need a few tweets from two people right now, not even one, right? Okay, no other news at this moment. Musk's father says Trump dispute triggered by intense stress has to end. The dispute between Donald Trump and Elon Musk was triggered by months of intense stress on both sides and the public battle between the US president and the billionaire. Anyways, all of that is all nonsense. Don't waste your time on any of that crap. Uh, let's go. Let's see what else is happening. Hmm. So that's one thing that I've been saying, right? A lot of the current news that's coming out is saying that retail has been buying while institutions and hedge funds have been selling while this fall happened, and then this whole recovery that's happened. You are seeing a lot of these retail stocks coming and still heading higher, as well as the retail traders. They've been buying a lot more through ETFs. So retail has slowed down in May with the monthly net buying dropping to 23 billion. But you know what? In all essence, they've been holding on to these gains for far too long. So retail's done very well. So that's something that's good to see at this moment. Let me go ahead. So just for everyone that's new here, just make sure you go ahead and subscribe and hit that bell. We do this at about 9 a.m. every day for an hour. So we take about 30 minutes of pre-market and 30 minutes of post-market opening. So Cadence Systems is up 3.5. I think even Nvidia should be doing pretty well today. It doesn't seem, I don't see a reason why it shouldn't be doing well. Maybe you could get a 2.5% on Nvidia. If it's able to break its 144 levels and 145 levels, you can see it go all the way up to 148, 149. Maybe just be about 2 to 3% away from an all-time high this week. So yeah, let me go see if there's more information. So as of now, Sri Lanka, Canada, South Korea, Ireland, Mexico, Brazil, South Africa, Israel, all of them have hit new highs as of last week. So keep in mind, I said this last week as well. You don't see recessions unless and until global markets are in a corrective phase altogether. They're not going to be in a corrective phase if some markets are heading higher while the others are heading lower. So you need global markets to correct together in order to have such kind of an issue. Again, just something for everyone to look at, because before we all start screaming recession, we should realize that all global markets everywhere except for America, which is still just 2% away, are hitting new highs. America is on its way of hitting a new high as well. Maybe not this month, maybe not next month, but this year, someday, I believe so it is going to happen. All right, let me go ahead. So Qualcomm's buying a British semiconductor company called Alphawave IP for 2.4 billion. And there's one British company that's also said that they're going to be buying Nvidia chips. So let's see what that is all about. From what I read, it was a few hours back itself. So I thought I'll let you guys know about that, because that's also been the reason why Nvidia's picked up, is because some of their chips are going to get sold now. So let me go ahead and see this. Yeah, so the betting markets are saying that there'll be a 57% chance that Elon and Trump meet in person by the end of the year. Here's how I look at it. I believe that if the price of Tesla as a stock keeps heading lower, that meeting's going to happen sooner, right? I would say the more people start selling, because at the end of the day, President Trump has more power than Elon. He could be the richest, but at the end of it, he controls a lot, right? A lot of Tesla's valuation is on robo taxis, on licenses, on government contracts, and government EV credits. So it might not account for a lot, but it could drop their margins by 10-15%. It could drop their revenues to a certain extent as well. And then there'll be valuation concerns as well. So it's a it's not everything, but it's not nothing as well, right? And a few of these companies have been coming out, and especially these analysts have been coming out and downgrading Tesla from a buy to a hold, some to a downgrading to a sell as well. So I don't really think it's a sell. I think if you own it, you're okay, but it could head lower. Be ready to see that. If you have a longer term perspective, it could be a great price at some stage to buy. I'm not necessarily saying right now. I'm not buying right now, so I'm going to wait for some time to see what happens. For me, it's still got some amount of, I would say, some more pain left before any of this can become worthwhile as a stock where there's a lot more discounted than usual. So Nvidia is now going to be investing even in Great Britain, so within the United Kingdom as well. So Nvidia says that it's going to be investing in United Kingdom. So that is one thing that's happening. One of them is what I was looking at is, yes, Nebius, right? That's a UK based company. They're planning to open a UK based data AI center powered by 4,000 Nvidia Blackwell GPUs by Q4 2025, which is Q4 of this year. So that's more money for Nvidia. Now, what's going to happen when people are coming out, as well as companies like Nebius are coming out in the UK? It's, I mean, Nebius has recently secured a 1 billion in debt financing and raised 700 million in equity. All of that money is basically going to Nvidia to buy those chips. Anyways, 3 minutes to market open, so it should be fun. I don't see a reason why. As of now, the Nasdaq futures are showing a positive 6. So what we were expecting 30 minutes back of a green opening is going to happen. And it's better that we open flat. Gives us enough reason to not worry about a gap up opening and then a fall from there. So we could possibly have a move higher post opening and maybe some pullback later during the day and then eventually head back higher as well. My bet is still for this week we should see a green week, unless and until you get some crazy shit that happens with the US China trade deal. Anyways, yeah, so the 10-year yield is also heading higher, 4.5 on the 10-year yield. So that is something to watch out to as well. It's it's not a cause of concern till the time it plays around this 4.3 and 4.6 level. So at the moment it's fine. Let me see what's happening with the dollar index. That was something that I saw in the morning, was heading lower, flat, was lower during early trade, now back up higher. So nothing really incredible at the moment to look at when it comes to currencies, which is a good thing to have, right? I mean, I'm also looking at the USD JPY because that's a way of looking at risk on, risk off sentiment. When you see the dollar yen pick up, you are seeing money moving to equity markets in America. When you see the dollar head lower against the yen, you are going to start seeing risk on sentiment. So when there is a risk off sentiment, a lot of selling happens, prices head lower, and people start buying the Japanese yen because it's a safe haven currency, is what the status is. And that's what usually happens. You see a lot of buying. One of the things that I've been seeing is a move in silver. I have not made any money on it, but I was expecting silver to head higher, and it is heading a lot higher. You are seeing for the month almost a 6.7% move on silver, right? We're pretty much at, I would say we're at the highs since all the way back seen in 2012. So that's a good 13-year high for silver. Remember, silver is a story that plays out pretty well when there is economic expansion that happens in America. So if everyone's expecting economic expansion, silver is used for industrial purposes. So that's one of the main reasons that silver starts heading higher, and a lot of companies have to buy silver because it's used in a lot of industrial uses, not just jewelry, unlike gold. So silver's been up 1.22%, gold's up about 0.14. Anyways, we should see the markets open flat, about pretty much up 1.4 to negative 2.3. Rohit asks, what's your view on gold? Rohit, nice to see you. Let me see what's happening with gold at the moment. So my view on gold is that it is still going to head higher because there's been a lot of central banks as well as countries stockpiling on the gold. And the more the news of a US default, or the more the news of a US trade deficit issue getting larger, I believe you are going to start seeing more amount of people moving towards gold. But I think it's a crowded trade at the moment. I don't think there is much to gain by buying gold at the moment. It could head to 4,000, might make 15-20%. I don't see gold anymore from this moment being a hedge against US equities at the current stage. It was a great trade before the tariffs, through the tariffs, up until now. My belief is a lot of the move is over. A large part of the move is over. So I wouldn't expect a move that wherein you could see gold heading to maybe 5,000. I don't think that is something that I would seem. It wouldn't seem likely to me at the moment. I would choose maybe stocks over gold at this stage. Anyways, let me just go over a few of those big stocks that are currently. So Nvidia's looking like it is up about 1.5%. That was what it was looking in pre-market as well, about 1%, 1.5%. So again, nothing fancy. Nvidia, I think for all reasons at this moment is what people should be looking at. It is going to be a precursor to what's going to happen to the S&P 500. My bet is as Nvidia heads higher and starts heading to all-time highs, it's got an 8% move or a 7% move as of now. If Nvidia is able to get towards its all-time highs, it will force the S&P 500 to move. It's got about a 6 to 7% weighting. So that's that. So just to bring all of you to notice, you're looking at Tesla down about 4%. So that's going to add to some amount of weight downside on the Nasdaq. But eventually, I think Microsoft, Google, Tesla, all of these guys are going to take over to push prices higher. So even with the 4% down day on Tesla and all the others, you're still looking at a negative 10 on the S&P 500 is pretty much flat. The Nasdaq's down maybe 13, so it's nothing crazy. Anyways, let me just go over and see some of these things that are currently going on. Stocks are pretty flat, otherwise nothing crazy other than, Nvidia is up about almost heading into 2% right now. So just gonna see what's up with Apple. Apple's got an event that comes out, the developer conference. So we're looking at 0.26% up on Apple. Let me just go see if there's anything crazy. Yeah, Nvidia is up about 2%, closer to 2. AMD is up about 3.75. Again, the few things that I was expecting, because the White House economic advisor, Kevin Hassett, did come out and say, if the talks with China do go well, a lot of the export restrictions would be pulled out. So that's one good thing that's happening at the moment. Let me go ahead and see a few things. Let me see if there has been anything crazy that's happening. We'll also look at Warner Brothers Discovery because they've had a split. So Intuitive Surgical is down 8%. I'm guessing that's going to be on some news that's currently going on. Okay. I don't know about that, but that's looking weird. So MicroStrategy up about 2.3%. That's because they've been purchasing Bitcoin, so that's added benefit for them as the price goes higher. Qualcomm up about 3% again due to the chip restrictions. Let me see. Yeah, so Warner Brothers Discovery up about 12.37%. So that's the big gainer for today. That is something that's currently looking like heading higher. Nvidia up about 2%, breaking out. So that's something that's there. Rohit, you're always welcome, man. Join in anytime with any more questions. I'm glad I can help. Okay, let's go ahead. Let's look at a few other stocks. Okay, nothing too fancy for today. Again, dead. Just keep in mind that I'm looking at that triple wedging that's currently going to be happening next week. So that's something that everyone should be looking at as well. If you're a trader, if you're not trading, it's not something to even worry about. You'll always have this every quarter, so it's okay. Yep. So as of now, among the Magnificent Seven, let's say Tesla's the only one that's pretty much shitting, down about 3%. Still, from open, it's come back to its almost. I would guess it might even be flat in a few hours if there's nothing crazy that's happening. No reason that you should be looking at something go down that much. Let me see. So Circle was one of the IPOs that was currently going on that pretty much went crazy, up about another 26% today. So 26% for Circle means it's up about 322% since IPO day. Anyways, so anyone that's new, remember, go ahead and subscribe. And we're doing this at 9 a.m. Eastern, 30 minutes before market opens and 30 minutes post market open. 10 p.m. we shut shop, we go ahead and trade for ourselves. So that's there. Everyone that's new, go ahead and just say hi. Ask your questions, anything about stocks, anything that you want to know. I mean, Circle was pretty much going to be trading at 35, 36, went up all the way to 64. 64 is now at 135. So, guys, anything can happen in stocks, right? Especially one of the things that I'm looking at is with so much of IPO sentiment picking up, I think you are going to see a risk on sentiment coming into markets. I believe we have higher prices to go. Maybe 6,500 on the S&P 500. As of now, still down only 2.8 points. So, nothing too fancy. Let me go ahead and see a few things, what's going on. I don't really think, I mean, a lot of people have been saying about this Elon Trump issue that's going on. If it's going to really be, a lot of them are liquidating their positions because of this. I think it's just noise. I don't really think it's going to be affecting any of those Tesla sales by that much of a. I would guess against it. I wouldn't bet that it's going to be that crazy. Not something that I would be expecting. Anyways, but you don't know. You can't really look into a lot of these things because you don't know what's going to happen with the Trump, what's going to happen with Elon, what's going to happen with both of them, right? If they don't talk, maybe shit gets worse. Who knows? Just looking at a few things to see if there's anything great that's been happening. So we're pretty much 10 minutes into opening and everything looks okay. So nothing crazy to worry about at this moment. We have a video that came out today as well, so go ahead and watch that if you guys can. Let me try seeing if I can put in the link on the chat. So for any of you that are interested, go ahead, watch it. It's about the few things that investors look at when. Yeah, there you go. It should be on the chat as well. Is it showing? Yeah, there you go. That one. So you can watch it. It's less than 5 minutes, so it's not really going to take up too much time of yours. Yeah, nothing too crazy. Nothing absolutely to report about. Pretty flat day. I think everyone's going to be waiting for the US China trade talks and what happens exactly there. That's going to be something that everyone's been watching out for if things do get better there or they don't. Just just keep watching onto Nvidia. That's going to be your bellwether to know whether the markets are going to be heading higher or not. Most of the moves that you will see this week should come from Nvidia. Especially the Max 7 move is what I mean. I'm not saying from the stock specific stuff, but from Max 7 it would be Nvidia. That would pretty much be taking the cake as of today. Let me go ahead and see if there is anything crazy that's been happening. So this is fascinating, right? 8 out of the 11 sectors in the S&P 500 are outperforming the index year to date. Now there's broad-based participations and more reasons to think that this is a healthy bull market. You usually don't see 8 to 9 of these sectors. Basically, we have 11 sectors in the S&P 500. 8 of them are outperforming the index. Eventually, the remaining 2-3 sectors are going to go in and outperform the S&P, and that's going to cause the S&P 500 to head towards all-time highs. That's how the game is played. Understand the game. Don't try figuring it out for yourself by trying to see how you can make money. This is a time-tested system. Look for market breadth. Look for the advanced decline ratio to improve. Look for stocks to be doing well when the advanced decline ratio is higher, because you're going to see eventually markets head higher when you see breadth improve. It's simple, right? It's not rocket science. All you got to do is figure out a way where market breadth improves. Look at the advancing stocks versus declining stocks, which basically means how many of the S&P 500 stocks are heading higher versus how many of them are heading lower. If more number of stocks are heading higher versus lower, you are eventually going to be seeing the S&P 500 head higher. There's only so much that it can take while it doesn't head higher, especially considering the fact that at the moment 8 out of 11 sectors have been outperforming. Eventually, it's going to be maybe a few more weeks later on a live where I'm going to be saying, you remember when we were saying that 8 out of 11 were outperforming and that now 11 out of 11 are outperforming. So you got to buy before the 11 out of 11 outperform. That's how you make money. Right. Anyways, let's just see what's happening. Nvidia lost about a percent of its gains. Stocks otherwise are pretty flat, down 17 on the Tech 100. The S&P is up about 1 point. So nothing really fascinating to report, but it's all looking pretty good. Let me just go ahead and see Tesla, because that's what I'm looking at this moment. Down about 1.78. So again, nothing too much at this moment. Like I'm saying, right, if you do see a move on Tesla that's going to cause it to break 265, 270, you might see prices head a lot lower, and that could be great entry prices. All right, so Pyro joins in. Hey bro, we meet after a long time. That's true. Nice to see you in the chat. How's it going? How have you been doing? We've shifted up the time, right? We used to earlier do this at about 7:30 p.m. Eastern post market closing. Now we do it at about 9 a.m. Eastern. So we're doing it at market open. So Paro, like everybody else, you guys can join in, and that'll be great. Nice to know that you got a new phone. That's cool. I mean, that's good. That's pretty cool. Now you can buy stocks on your new phone, right? That's going to be fascinating. Just trying to see if there's anything else that's been going on. I mean, nothing that comes to my mind at this moment. Everything seem body. I don't know that much about a phone, man. I just buy the iPhone. I'm not sure if it's a good phone or no. But if all the buttons work and the camera works and you can hear other people on the phone, I think the phone works. It's good. It's a phone, man. All you wanted to do is make calls. Okay, so yeah, my bet is we might just play around at this level, and then eventually it's all going to be chill, right? You don't really need to lose too much of your sleep on this fact of trying to figure out if things are going to get worse. Just trying to see if there's any bad news or anything else that's been currently going on. Yeah, man, it's like a watch. A lot of people spend hundreds of $1,000s on the watch. It still tells you the same time as the other watch. So, yeah, maybe it's an investment. Just buy stocks, man. Just what I'm seeing is high beta is actually doing pretty well. High beta stocks are moving a lot higher, which is a sign of worry, but it's also a good thing. What it means is there's a risk on sentiment. A lot of people are buying into this craze of buying stocks. Usually that's how you get bull markets, and that's how eventually how Remember, bull markets need to climb a wall of worry. The wall of worry could be any reason, but you need to climb a wall of worry. And we have enough reasons to get worried about right now. Right? You have trade talks, you have the Supreme Court issue that's going on with tariffs, you have Elon Trump issues, you have Los Angeles issues, you have issues globally. Some places COVID's been spiking as well. So you have issues pretty much everywhere. I would say don't lose sleep over it. It is better for these kind of issues and multiples of them. The markets in general can only worry about one thing at one point of time. They can't worry about 1,000 things. So at this moment, it looks like everything's fine. As in, I don't even think the market's even giving a damn about tariff news that's happening. They will care about what's happening with the China tariffs. So keep that in mind. That would be something that we have to look at, because if you do want the China tariffs to go through, you are going to want to see at least some form of a recovery when it comes to the China tariffs. You don't want it to be all hell breaking loose, all right? So yeah, I mean, we're going to do this for maybe another 15 minutes more. Let's see if there's any more amount of news that's there, anything that's there. The video that I just put out was about why most investors fail. Why is it that most investors are not able to think longer term? What are the mistakes that people make? Less than 5 minutes. It'll be worth it's 5 minutes that you can spend trying to understand something that can help you out. Way better than spending it on some other stuff. So go ahead, watch it, like, subscribe if you want to. I'm still going to put it out. So for me, this is a lot of fun. So I'm going to keep doing this. Okay, let me see. This is one thing that I'm kind of... I actually do have a feeling that we could see Nvidia maybe head into all-time highs this month, right? That could propel maybe the S&P 500 to hit an all-time high this month as well, which a lot of people are not expecting. So watch out. Maybe it does happen, man. Who knows, right? It's just my bet. What I know is that the S&P 500 will, if Nvidia is going to go to all-time highs, it will be one reason why the S&P 500 is also hitting all-time highs. So let me go ahead and see if there's anything else that's currently going on. Maybe tomorrow's live will have a lot more of the news and information that is coming out about China and America. They're meeting in London at the moment, getting their trade talks done in London. I think it's just going to go the way the Geneva stuff happened. They're going to come out and say great things are going on, and they're going to work towards another meeting, and the market's not going to care. And eventually, I also do believe that those export controls are going to come out. So that's my belief. You are going to see some form of an export control movement that will happen. So let's see what else is happening. Some of these stocks are like really flying. Let me just give one more shout out at Tesla to see. Yeah, Tesla is almost 1% down now. It was down about 4% at one point of time. Now down just a percent. That's what I'm saying. All right. You start seeing things like Tesla going from 4% down to a percent higher on their news that they're going to have an issue with Trump. You know we're in a bull market, right? Anyways, so let's call it quits for tonight. And let me just see a few things. Let me go ahead and end the poll. So everyone's bullish. That's the end of the poll. That's one good thing to see. Fact that everyone is coming out and being bullish, I like that. Okay guys, so all good for now. Let's connect. Maybe sometimes if I can do it, I will try coming in the evening as well. Then we can spend some time talking about post market as well as pre market. That would be fun. Let's see how that goes. Anyways, that's why I say, right, go ahead and hit that bell, because you'll know when I come online, then when I come live. A lot of it is not planned. Some of them can just happen out of practice. I just come out and just, if I find something, I'll just come out and talk about it. So it could be pretty impromptu. So go ahead and join in whenever it is. So that's why just go ahead and subscribe and hit the bell, and then I will see you either post market or tomorrow pre market. Right? Go ahead. Take care. Have a good night. And for all of you, have a good day in America. Take care, guys. Bye.